Boom. Hey, internet. Ooh, I started that late. Just trying to time it. Also, not using my regular camera is funny. I'm live again. This is, if you're watching this in the replay, I've been going live a lot more, so come check me out. Make sure your post noties are on. I went live on my Instagram a little bit ago, so hopefully some folks come on over from there. But my point is, if you're following me here, you should follow me on Instagram as well, because I'll do separate sessions there. Might get some different value or a different take on the same questions. But it's all content. If you're trying to get your brand to another level or just simply launch your brand, I'm going to go ahead and dub this CBA Live #1, although I did kind of a test one like last week. But yeah, so we're broadcasting live on Facebook. All my people on Facebook, my / there is CBM John Phenom. So it's the Clothing Brand Mentor Facebook over on that platform. Otherwise, you guys will always be able to get me here on my YouTube channel. So I covered a couple things on my Instagram, which I'm if you're watching from there as well, or watching here but was there, I'm going to be slightly redundant, so bear with me. But I'm hoping I could give you new angles on anything you might ask. Plus, definitely going to go over Q&A. Update on tech packs. I want to talk about the video I dropped this week with managing your clothing brand, and a big announcement, which kind of my Facebook or my Instagram live was really talking about, or I guess my IGTV was talking about, is a brand that I consult with has the founder of the brand has actually left his job as of last month. And so really crazy time to do that on the outward set of just kind of looking at that situation. But as I give you some detail in the story, it's going to give you some new insight. And I think the whole reason for me sharing it there and here is it's inspirational. At the end of the day, I think it's super inspirational, and it's a milestone not only for that founder but for me, because you know, if you guys know me from this channel, you know that one of my goals is to help like 3 or 4 brands make it to that next tier of being a legitimate multi-million-dollar brand. And so this company is well on its way. It's well on its way, and I feel great about that. Plus, it's a great case study for you guys to see a brand that's actually succeeding right now, here and now, during the pandemic and during these very chaotic times. Okay. Want to give a big shout out to Mixed Grounds out in San Diego. I did a post on my IG, and big fan. So I'm a big fan of minority owned, Black owned, Asian owned and businesses, you know, that are bootstrapping it. So that's all going down with Mixed Grounds. It's actually a few co-founders, but a coffee shop done with, I would say, a hip hop twist. So if you're ever out in like the central area of San Diego, definitely hold them down, grab a cup of Joe from them. Big shout out to them. GLK, Glamorous Living Kids, my man Chris. I posted a little bit about him and everything that's kind of going on with him. And, you know, he's another small business that's doing it. I know him very well. He's been a designer. I don't know what I can say, but he's designed both in streetwear and for a very, very big multinational company. It's actually a second party firm that deals with a huge company. So he's very well versed. Actually, he was the plug for me actually getting connected with all the people at DCon, all my people at DesignerCon. Big shout out to them. Huge event, obviously prior COVID, but they're getting back on, just like many events, many trade shows. As people are coming on to the stream, let me know where you're at, what city you're at, what country you're at. Good to see you guys on a Friday. It's a Friday out here. Big shout out to my boy L. Amazing photographer. He's here on the chat. And Yo, check out my interview with him. It's a couple videos down. My man is very talented. We actually had a huge conversation, big catch up the other day. In these times, I feel like it's easier to get in contact with people who prior to this were unattainable. I think that's one of the things. If we could pull any good things out of this crazy, chaotic past year, I feel like I've been able to make deeper connections with a lot of people, which in some case I wouldn't have been able to. And so that's a good thing. But good to see you, bro. We made it, guys. We made it to the end of the week. It's Friday over here in Los Angeles, California. I'm chilling in my studio. There's still some sun out. Getting ready to head to San Diego in a bit. Ooh, I'm breaking up a little bit. Keep my connection tight. So if you have questions, let me know. Oh, Anthony, I see you. San Diego's in the house. Skunkland Apparel Co., I see you. Spain Keith, RVA, I see you. So I had some slides. I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm actually getting grainy. I could see as my connection here. So man, I gotta fix it. You would think I'm super tech savvy. I'm actually not. This week I dropped a video about managing your clothing brand. So I want to talk about that a little bit. X-Rated, I see you. Thank you for the interaction there. I appreciate that. Oh, Echo Park in the house. I was just in Echo Park 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago with my man Ricky Kim, RYK. So managing your brand, we're talking about a product that I offer on Clothing Brand Academy. If you're not familiar, it's where I house all of my solutions for clothing brands. And so managing your brand, a lot of what I'm talking about there is just kind of the production aspect of it. And so it's really a nuts and bolts of kind of the nucleus of the linear part of your brand. So it's not that fun for people who are designers. But it's important to have like a logistical context to the DNA of your brand, right? So, I mean, we're talking about spreadsheets. Again, not that exciting. For me, it's exciting. I mean, I have a little left brain, right brain to me, but that's always just been me. I've been kind of weird that way. So I can nerd out. And one of the first things that I do when I'm at a brand is have lunch with the sales manager. So I want to know what strengths and weaknesses are. And the set of docs that I have for that and that I dropped in the YouTube video is all spreadsheets. And that would be more of the production manager, although it relates to any kind of art director or creative director, and then like whoever is the powers that be in that brand. So yeah, there's like 5 different documents there. All of it track the making of a brand and like, all of the things inside of that, like from the point at which you're creating the names, I have a style number guide. The style number guide is basically creating your own SKU, which is a style keeping unit, right? So your style numbers can actually be your own custom, where the letters and the numbers and the area of the digits can actually signal something. It can mean the season. It can mean the category of the apparel. So you could learn a whole lot from just what you're naming the style, right? And so in any case, important for me to bring up more so with people who are like not design, or who are designers and who are not very logistically inclined, rather. And so, there's always that part. I always have to see who I'm talking to, because if you're a designer like me, I get it. We could talk about vectors. We could talk about design. We could talk about fabrication all day. And I love that. I do love that part of the business, but then a lot of your brass tacks is looking at spreadsheets. And so I try to make them fun. I hope they're fun. I've sold a ton of them, but yeah, it's a very important part. I mean, on my post on CBA, I said now available. Really, it's been available for a while, but I just did update it with something new in that whole package. So I hope that's something that you guys can enjoy. Tech packs. Wanted to talk about tech packs for a second. I got a big announcement for the tech packs. Again, if you're catching me from my IG earlier, this is going to be repetitive, but for everybody on my channel, this is going to be good. So I always get questions about my tech packs. That's also on CBA. And tech packs, if you're not familiar, are basically the blueprint of any garment. So what you're trying to do with that is be very exact about the measurement, the color, call outs. It's call outs, right? So like the pattern on this button down shirt would have this specific, like the sparrow pattern, how it's spaced out, the colorway, like this, it would call out the fabrication of the chambray of the shirt, all those different things. And so the ones that I have right now are just for blank apparel. It's for t-shirts and hats for the most part. But I have a slew of you guys who have never worked in Adobe Illustrator. And with the rise of a lot of programs like Canva, I talk about Canva all the time. I got love for Canva, minority founded by a female tech entrepreneur, right? Out of Australia, right? I mean, we're getting to Drake levels of being so far from the norm of popularity within your field, right? So female, minority in Australia, nowhere close to Silicon Valley, but highly successful, great company. And I'm an Adobe guy, right? I learned, my first program was like Adobe 1 or Adobe 2. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're talking about Web 1.0. And so, of course, I'm versed with it in and out. But I'm a huge fan of Canva. And so one question is, how can I make tech packs that are accessible through Canva? So through a free program like Canva. I mean, there's a paid version of Canva, but the free version of Canva is very robust. And so my announcement is I'm really close to having all of my tech packs replicated in a Canva format. I just got off of an email chain with a subscriber from Japan who's like right on the edge of buying, and it's cool. You buy it, you don't buy it. Like I'm cool. I'm just making tools that are trying to help. But he was in the same predicament, and then I told him early. I was like, "Hey, I'm on the edge of getting this done, so it's free on Canva." And he was like, "Done. If you get that done," he's like, "I'm in it." So also. With this announcement, I want to say, if you've ordered my tech packs before, you're going to get an update with the Canva version in it. So just to be clear, the prices are going to be the same, but with the vector Adobe format of the tech packs, right? So where you'll get, obviously Adobe, you can open it in Affinity. Any vector program will be able to open those files, all the EPS files. But it's going to come with a Canva template. So you can use the free version of Canva in order to make tech packs, to be very specific about it. Okay. I see a question. How many are, okay. Go ahead and share this one. How many articles of clothing do you think a small startup should have? T-shirts, hoodie, hats, etc. Okay. Great question. Thanks for the interaction. So this kind of gets grouped along with how many things should I start with, or how many t-shirts should I start with. It also goes along for me with how much money do I need to start. So it depends on, okay, I get all kinds of people here, all kinds of different groups of people that are trying to cater to different niches. So my short answer is work with the budget you have. If you do the math of what it's going to take to produce units of those items, it's going to come down to the math of what you have available. And I would make sure there's a percentage of your money that's ready for reorder. Okay, so budget will dictate how many items you can start with. It'll give you a budget, right? And then from there, you can decide hats, t-shirts. And I say hats and t-shirts because those are the easiest things to begin with traditionally, okay? Now, I'm saying that without taking into account any kind of POD, third party that you might use. So product on demand is what I'm talking about there. If you're experimenting with that, it takes away the cost of production, but increases the unit cost, right? So I'm talking about Printify. I'm talking about Printful. So I'm not including that route, right? Like I'm talking about you're going to pay money for like a screen printer or an embroiderer. If you're trying to jump straight into cut and sew, like you want a custom, I don't know, jacket, a button-down shirt, something like that. That's a whole nother dimension. And it will cost a lot more money, right, to do more pieces. So another reason why I say begin with t-shirts and hats. And so nothing is too small, right? Like you can start with a logo shirt, or you can start with a statement shirt, or you could start with something that's photographic. My thing paired with work off your budget is try to put out things that you really feel can sell. Because the whole first couple drops is selling. Sell, put into more product. Sell that out. Go into more product. Sell it out. If you don't sell everything out, figure out what to promo out what you don't have or what you can't sell, and then put what you do have into more product, right? And remember, people are they're going to discover your brand at different points. So whether you have items that are new at that point or new to a new audience, there's always going to be people that are going to be discovering it at different points. So hope that makes sense. Wow, I'm gonna share this. That's great, Anthony. Anthony said I have 4K in different products as well as 100 patterns. Got addicted to the pattern creation. Anthony, that's really rare. That's really rare. I'm seeing a lot of like t-shirt guys that are then trying to move up into cut and sew. What an interesting background. Let me share a second comment. So Anthony also said it took us 3 months to print and alter over 10K shirts, 10K in t-shirts for Island Swag just to sell. Okay, that sounds like a bit of an overproduction, which is very typical. That happens to a lot of people. So back to what I was saying, actually, or what I'm saying, it relates to what I was just saying. Work off of your budget, do what feels safe for you, and do what you think you can sell. So if that's a hat, maybe you start a hat, an embroidered hat. Just sell it out. Like keep getting the brand out there. In that whole process, what we're looking for is what I always talk about. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3. Proof of concept. We're looking for proof of concept for the brand. Guys, keep hitting me with questions if you have questions. Otherwise, I'm stoked that you're here hanging out on a Friday. It was a long week. We've had trying times, so I bid you all good vibes. I hope you're gonna have an amazing weekend. So I wanted to do this. I want to do like I kept talking about an unboxing, but I kept thinking of how I'm gonna shoot the video, and I'm like, sometimes that's just not interesting. And so you know what? Circle Clothing. Big shout out to Circle Clothing. They sent me some samples, or they sent me some items, and when people are asking me what blank should I use, I always say there's like a universe of blanks out there. So go out there and buy blanks. Just make orders on blanks and then get them, start wearing them, wash them, and see how they feel. And then at the end, it's going to be a personal preference as to what blank you use for your brand. And there's like literally 100 brands out there, but I'm really excited for Circle Clothing because it's a smaller startup brand. So I just like that. Also price, obviously price is going to dictate, right? When I was at Arisu, we used the All Style 1301, super popular blank in that time, all the way to the like early 2000s. That style number was really economical. It was what we called, or what I called the skate tee. Every skate company you know used the 1301. Now Gildan owns All Style, and I feel like it's kind of tougher to get that style. I feel like it's tougher to order. They've made it a little more difficult. Like they kind of make you order Gildan's stuff first. But Gildan's a monster. They're a beast. They own a bunch of brands. Respect to them. Doing good things in the game. You know, I'm not. You know, everything has to change and evolve. But we're gonna see what's up with Circle Clothing in a bit. Bilal, I see you. I appreciate you as well. Yo, guys, let me know what city you guys are at and what country. If you're out of the country, you know what I'm saying? Before I open some Circle Clothing here with the unboxing, I want you guys to see an update of what's going on next week. Super excited about next week. Big shout out to Stan Banks, T-shirt Side Hustle. I'm going to be doing quite a few collabs with Stan. And I showed this on my IG, my IG live like last week, but I'll give you guys a preview, okay, of something we made. So this started as a collab, and then what I didn't know is I was collabing with Supercolor, which I'm going to mention a million times on my channel, especially after next week. But let me start with this. This is a hoodie, okay. This is kind of a remake of my logo. So I'll try to get it up close. So my lights are a little hot, but this says John Phenom brand, and I just want to show you guys. So Champion hoodie blank, just a little something, little light flex. That I did for the collab. I concepted the design in my head. I've never done it before. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't been on the ones and twos in terms of design in quite a while. So it was interesting for me. Like it was a different, I was on a time crunch because Stan kept hitting me up like, yo, what's up with the design? And so the actual execution of the design on Adobe Illustrator was like 30, 40 minutes, but in my mind, I made the design up. Anyways, I'll do a separate video on that when time comes. Just checking the comments, guys. By the way, a couple people, if you have questions, even if I answer them for you, if you do the question on a vertical on your phone and send like a selfie question and send it to me, I will gladly add it to that Q&A video for the YouTube channel. So please keep that in mind. I definitely want interaction with you guys on a high level. Ooh, that's a good question. X-rated, good question on the embroidery. I don't have embroidery formats on there. Let me look into that though. That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. Spain has a good question. Spain Keith. Is there such a thing as oversaturation as far as designs? What's a good number to start with? I do my switch up on the actual garment. Okay. Great question. You know what? It's really based on your audience and what you can sell. So like, for example, let's say Antisocial Social Club. So amazing. I don't know how that lightning hits, where you make one block logo, which is basically the word mark of your brand. And you can screen print that on shirts, on hoodies, on fleece, right? On anything printable, right? You could put it on a hat, probably not a fedora, but on a snapback hat and still have it be that successful. Like for me, within regards to your question, I would argue maybe that I would think that could be an oversaturation, but that's all people want. It's all people want. They want it to say Antisocial Social Club. And so it's just one of those things. But in terms of, let's say you had like a tech style, right? Or kind of a retro punk style. Shoot, I wish I could give you guys visuals if you understand like the themes and the vibes that I'm talking about. But let's say you had one sort of concentrated style. I think as long as the audience is eating it up, that's where I would find oversaturation to be, right? So from the brand perspective, I would do what you would think is over designing. I would over design because maybe if you make 10 designs, maybe 8 of them come out. And then from the 8, you're going to see which horses make it to the finish line first and second, right? So out of 8, maybe 4 of them are just bangers. And I say bangers in terms of sales, right? Many times I've had a garment or a grouping of things where I'm like, these are the hottest things we're doing this season. And they don't come in first or second or third within sales, but I still think they're bangers. Know what I'm saying? So in a lot of ways, the market is going to tell you where that's coming from. Big shout out to Gary from Georgia. Georgia in the house, man. George is in here. Okay, guys, here we go. Moment of truth. Circle Clothing sent me this. And so instead of doing a video, I just wanted to do it live here. I have like a catalog. The quality of this print is really good as well. All right. We got color swatches with actual fabrication. I could feel the fabric. So a lot of good colors here. I like that their heather is really subtle. You guys can't see it, but the heather color is really subtle. Now, another reason I'm doing it live is I realized I told them all black, like send me black colorways and everything because it's all I wear. Not the best for a video, but in any case, let's just see what's in here. Okay, we got like joggers. Okay, we got some joggers. What else? Ooh, let's send me a few of these. All right, this seems to be a heavyweight. Oh, wow. So t-shirt, the hand feels really good on these. And it's like, I would call it, at first I was thinking it's a midweight, but it's more of a heavyweight jersey. Hand, by the way, hand is the way a fabrication feels, right? The hand of the fabric. So they probably sent me like, I would say six of these t-shirts. This is a fleece crew neck. Ooh, you could barely see this, but there's a half moon in the back. So a half moon is when you see that oval part in the back. So the point with that is the inside part of this is you're able to print on it. So the self fabric, like in fleece, you know, the inside part is really fuzzy. You can't print on that, right? You cannot print on that. So what they did is they sewn in a half moon. A half moon is typically just used in the back panel here, and it's usually the self fabric reversed or a contrast fabric, right? You've seen it before. And so here with the label, they have it so you can screen print your P&L or your printed neck label. So that's smart on this fleece. I love that. I think they give me a hoodie, and there's a hoodie. Really good weight on the hoodie as well. Thank you again, Circle Clothing. Obviously, all of this stuff is going to get used, and you're going to see it within the process. But yeah, this is what they sent me. That you know it's startup when they have these amount of fabrics, but I love it. I love the grit. I love the grit of like a startup. They're probably bigger than a startup, but they're not as big as the brands that you would typically use for soft goods. And so, man, I'm stoked on it. Oh, hell no. Oh, big shout out. To Zombie Mike. Big shout out to Zombie Mike. Guys, we are blessed with some talent up in here. Mike Cena is one of the best art directors I've ever worked with to this day. And I've worked with a couple good ones. But yeah, I'm going to have him, or I'm going to convince him to be on one of my interviews. Oh, you know, I'm going to put you on the screen, boy. Oh, we talk about, yes, we are. Yes, we are. And no one has called you Zombie Mike since the 2nd Brigade days. Oh, that's so funny. One more story that I got to tell you guys before I get out of here. I'm packed up for the most part. Like I would say 80% packed up. I'm headed to San Diego. My parents have their 50th anniversary tomorrow. That's crazy. April 1971. How crazy is that, right? Let me see. Let me give you guys some value if you have. Do you have any suggestions? Ooh, Bilal, great question. Do I have any suggestions on how to create brand loyalty? I think so. First of all, I think you need to have. I went off on this on my IGTV, but I mean, you got to be really serious about the content you're creating for your marketing campaigns. I think it should be well thought, and inside of it, you got to weave the personality of the brand, which by and large, 90% of you guys are small business owners, or it's gonna be you bootstrapping the brand. So I think that comes through in colors, in bright colors, and it's usually one thing I don't never need to talk about, right? So like multi-million-dollar like corporations try to feel smaller. I mentioned this on my last stream, but like they try to feel smaller by hiring someone who's very witty on their Twitter, right? So that they can snap back at people and do something funny. But I think your marketing campaign needs to be laced with a lot of personality. The cool thing about fashion is that it's like that's usually the least part you got to worry about. But within that, you can create interaction, right? So getting an audience is where I'm headed towards. So you do that with really good content, really good marketing about the culture, and really thinking about your audience as a culture. And taking care of those relationships, right? And then from there, you can have interaction. And so that's it for brand loyalty. I mean, it's really creating those deep links and then moving it from 100 to 1,000. And I also did mention this on my last stream, but you just need 1,000 hardcore fans to really move the needle. You don't need, 1 million followers. In fact, there's so many case studies that I've mentioned of influencers who have like literally 2 million followers try to do a merch brand and they fall on their face, and then it's embarrassing for everyone. You got to go in heavy. I hate to reference the Paul brothers, but Logan Paul with Maverick, he just laced the hell out of the brand. So they do really well. Another not as whack pop case study for me is Destroying. I think with 10 Toes Down, he's amazing at plugging the brand in a natural way and like literally made his apparel and his persona and his brand into like one thing where, dude, if that dude gave me a shot to work on his merch, that would be just a wrap and a half. So a lot of influencers have inquiries with me about merch and all of that stuff, of course. And then a lot of micro guys too. So my big caution is like, you gotta be into it. You know, if on the influencer or micro influencer side, if they're trying to do merch just because they think it's the next step, or they think it's easy, or they see what Destroying is doing or Logan Paul is doing, and they think it's easy, you'll fall on your face. Yeah. Drama from Young and Reckless. He's talked about this in length, how the fame that he got from MTV, and kids nowadays, they don't even remember that. But the jump off was him being on MTV with Rob Dyrdek, right? And so he talks about how he really had to learn the business and work in order to, one, maintain, but number two, have it continue to be a multi-million-dollar brand. And so heavily suggest that you check out his podcast and some of his past Mike is saying, oh, hell no, because I mentioned Logan Paul. I have to, bro. Some of these kids don't know. Some of my references are so obscure because I'll bring it back to the 90s. That's where I lose probably most of you. I don't know. How old is everybody? I don't even know. Cool, guys. Thanks for hanging with me. Any other, if you have questions, if you continue to have questions, please hit me up. Let me undo this banner. Been running that forever. Oh, also you guys can hit me up via text. That's probably the easiest way to get at me. And that'll go straight to my iPhone. So you could text me there. It's the easiest way to get some answers. Next week is going to be big. Please look out for it. Turn post noties on. I'm going live a lot and randomly. I'm not setting a schedule for this. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. So if I feel like it, I'm going to do it. But I don't know how much of a preview I should say, but I'm putting a format together, an interview format where I'm trying to bring together a bunch of people, mostly from fashion, but there's people who I just think you need to hear from that don't have 10,000 followers on any platform, but they're like veterans in the game in terms of production, design. There's a ton of artists. When I say artists, I mean both artists and like designers, like apparel designers. There's a lot of people that I want to bring on and get my audience accustomed to, or I want you to hear from their experience, because it's super valuable. Like there's so many people that you can learn value from. So I'm actually getting set to do that. So look out for that. Again, turn your post noties on. And the content we have coming next week is going to be really big. So Stan Banks from T-Shirt Side Hustle, we're doing 2 video drops. So I'm going to do an interview with like his story, but the one on Tuesday is going to be big, and it's going to be all about Supercolor and everything that it's the precursor to what I'm going to be doing with them as a company in sort of a brand deal sort of way, but also in just sharing how you guys can start your brand with a very bootstrap small budget. Sola had a question. I'll snipe a couple of these before I bounce. Have I ever worked with New Era? I know how they require brick and mortar. Okay, wait. So Sola, I'm guessing are you talking about on the retail level for selling? If so, I can't speak too intelligently about that. I have worked with New Era. Actually, Mikey was there with me. He was my art director when we were working together with New Era very closely. And we had a designer in there who was at the helm. Also our marketing director at the time. So we were doing actual New Era hats when we were at Orisu, if you remember that brand. However, I do believe you're talking about more on the sales side. And yeah, that account is, I'm assuming, I should bring on one of my sales guys to speak more about this. But in terms of acquiring like a really premium brands, especially when it comes to streetwear, like you're not going to open up shop and call up Nike and say, hey, I need a bunch of blazers in here, or, just anything. So it's a whole game in terms of how they let out their product. There's a conversation there. There's definitely a conversation there when it comes to how you disseminate your brand in terms of what types of retail. Gosh, that's a whole nother YouTube channel, but there's perceived tiers of retail where you would position your brand. So for example, you wouldn't just put your brand in the swap meet, right? You wouldn't just put it there. So there's different tiers of retail where you would position your brand, and that it kind of relates. But I'd like to know more about it. So maybe I could give you some value on that. Young Savi, do you have any tips on getting into apparel industry? Or run my brand for a handful of years, but it seems like my like using. Okay, a good question. Okay. Oh gosh, that reminds me. So my last brand that I was at, we were actually hiring for my job. So when I was leaving, I gave my short Chinese boss, who's like a jillionaire, right? She owned like 8 brands, and I ran the menswear. I'm the only person that ran one of her like divisions, because one, the menswear brand was really small, right? It was me and like 6 people, but no one else knew about menswear. And so when I was leaving, I gave her a ton of notice, and I was like, hey, if you guys want to hire for me, I'll put the ad together. We'll interview. And this dude showed up. Oh, it was so funny. He showed up and he was wearing. I shouldn't be laughing. This is like HR violation probably, but he was wearing his own brand, like a jumpsuit. I think it was velour, and he made it by hand. And it was just really bad. And so the biggest thing on his resume was that he had his own brand. Gosh, that was so funny. Me and my general manager were she couldn't look at me because I was like just like bugging. In any case, so for getting in the industry, now I'm not sure how old you are. I talked about this before, but I think interning is a great way to get in. If you're not dying for funds, but anything that would be entry level, and I would try to diversify if you can. I don't know if you're involved in any other retail too, but I wouldn't like that dude who just showed up, Dolo, with like the velour suit and was like, yeah, this is my drip. I was like, yeah, that's not like, whoever you're interviewing for, you want to make sure it's tailored as to where you're trying to get in. But I would get in any way you could, any way you can. I remember LRG, if you remember that company, they almost had like a system where everyone started at the warehouse. If you didn't interview into your spot, they would start you at the warehouse and then go from there. So everyone, if you worked in, a lot of the people who worked in marketing and production and even design started as interns in the warehouse. So they teach you about all the product and all the categories that they have. There was some education there, you know what I mean? It wasn't all kind of grunt work, as I would say. I talked about this in depth like 2 streams ago, so I don't want to belabor it. But when I started the internship program over at Arisu, I really was mindful about education, giving the person a good education and good references so that they had that for their portfolio and moving forward. Sola, also one more thing, and I tell this to all of my college kids, there's bad internships out there. So like if you think they really are just gonna give you grunt work and it's gonna stay like that and they're gonna ego trip, don't just leave. If it's an internship thing, if you get in paid, obviously I would just get in wherever you can, and if you don't see value in it, there's definitely bad leadership in a lot of really big companies. You'd be so surprised. Okay, guys, cool. I'm like 40 minutes out from leaving for San Diego. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me. If you have more questions, please get at me. You could if you're watching this in the replay, you could drop your questions below. You could always hit me up at my number. It's there on the contact. But yeah, I'll also aggregate from here. Please follow me on Instagram when you get a chance. I'll go live there separately as well. Cool. I feel like this was good for my first little CBA live. There's a lot of good content. Next week is big. Turn the post notice on. You're gonna want to watch that, or watch it in the, after it posts, of course. You know what I'm saying? This is all on YouTube, so you'll be able to see that. There's gonna be some big advice coming soon. I really think it's gonna help a huge majority of my audience. We've been through a lot. So give yourself some extra time this weekend. You know what I mean? Get lit right now, like whatever your favorite drink is, even if that's hot cocoa. Do your thing. Make sure you have time to breathe. Mental health is really important. Let's stop Asian hate. That's crazy. Black lives really do matter. So let's try to let these people know, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is really going on here, people? Let's make that new generation have a different set of values, not to get too political. But I'm sending good love and spirit to all y'all, wherever you're at in the world. I'll see you guys on the next one.